walk this morning and I found this giant feather. So I'm gonna use it to get myself off, bro. Straight up and off and off. Something's calling me. Welcome back to another sesh with Shawn. Who is me? We bite up, we talk, and we heal together. Y'all, I'm kid you not, bruh. Another fucking cigarette butt. Oh, y'all, I got peanut. I went to see someone that I'm kind of friends with. Not really. We know each other. I pulled up at his house around like 8:30. We chatted it up for a little bit, did our business transaction, and then we went our separate ways. So I was at home chilling, and I was actually thinking about what I was going to talk about in this video. And I get a text from, we're going to call him. Let's call him Bird. I get a text from Bird. Is that a butterfly? I get a text from Bird, and Bird's like, what you doing? So I'm smoking. For context, me and Bird have smoked together before. It didn't throw me off when Bird texts back, come smoke with me. But this is what threw me off. Nigga, why did you texting me at midnight talking about come smoke with you when I was just at your house at 8:30 doing a business transaction? And if you wanted to smoke, we could have smoked then. Girl. Bird has been really, really, really inconsistent in the way that we interact with each other. Some days, Bird's acting like my bestie, and I'm like, okay, I'm cool. I be vibing. Whatever energy you come with, that's the energy that I'm a vibe with. And I'm like, okay, Bird's a cool dude. Like, I can kick it with Bird. But then other times, Bird be acting real stiff with me. And like I said, whatever energy you come with, I'm a vibe with it. So you acting stiff, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet and simple. Alright, I'm here to get what I need to get, and let's go about our way. Fuck what you claim. The reason I'm talking about this is because one of the things that I'm manifesting into my life is to have my soul family and my community of people who I could call on, hang out with, kick it with, like my support for my friends or family. So when Bird first made it aware to me that he fucked with me on like more than just a business relationship level, I'm like, oh, okay, cool, like we can be friends. The inconsistency started to make me question like if it's something that I'm doing that's making him act stiff towards me. There's times where I would hit him up, be like, hey, you trying to chill, trying to smoke? And I would get no response, like for weeks, until he hit me with like a new menu or something. I'm like, my fault, thought we were cool. Yeah, when that started making me question like, okay, is this something that I'm doing that's making our dynamic be a little inconsistent, funky? That's where I was like, this is something else. This has nothing to do with Bird, because this pattern of inconsistency has been a pattern throughout my life. And it's been a pattern that I noticed, and I'm like, okay, I mean, it's like this. So I did a little researching, and this is what I found. Repetition compulsion, a psychological phenomenon where someone unconsciously repeats patterns from past relationships, often from childhood, in an attempt to resolve an unresolved emotional wound. When someone continually chases emotional, unavailable, or inconsistent people, it can also stem from an anxious attachment style. When I looked more into that regarding, childhood trauma, I recognized that mine comes from a father wound. So I grew up with a drunk, absentee / deadbeat dad. And I use the term dad very, 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 very loosely. I actually refer to him if I refer to him. I don't speak on this man often because I haven't been in contact with this man for over 6 years. So if I so happen to have to mention this person, I refer to them by their first name. For the sake of this video, we're going to call him Homelander. So Homelander was a drunk, absentee deadbeat who would come around when he wanted to, didn't make me feel worthy of being protected, kept safe, or happy. Homelander would not reach out to me, but they reprimand me for not reaching out And that started at the early age of 7 years old. There was one instance where I was calling Homelander all day because I had anxiety since I was a kid. And so when Homelander wasn't answering like my first 2 calls, I immediately was like, something bad has happened to Homelander. So I'm calling on the top of the hour, every single hour, all day. And the more Homelander didn't answer my calls, the more I was worried about Homelander, because I'm like, oh my gosh, something bad happened to Homelander. This never happens. Homelander usually answers when I call. Homelander hasn't answered all day. I'm thinking Homelander is dead in a ditch somewhere, and I'm trying to self-soothe myself as a poor little 11-year-old girl. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I'm already preparing myself for the trauma of having, a deceased father. Until 11 o'clock p.m., Homelander calls me back. I said, oh. I answered the phone, and I'm like so relieved, but also so like, oh, where you been all day? Like, I've been trying to call you. Like, are you okay? Like, what's going on? I was so concerned. And then Homelander said, I know I was ignoring you. When I tell you that moment, I broke down into tears immediately, because I've never felt so betrayed and blatantly ignored in my whole entire life. I was like, what do you mean you were ignoring me? When normally you reprimand me for not calling you. I don't even know how many times, but I was calling on top of the hour every single hour from the moment I woke up until the moment I went to bed. I couldn't go to bed. Like, the only reason I was up at 11 p.m. because I couldn't go to bed because I thought something had happened to Homelander. And Homelander was like, yeah, no, I was ignoring you. That was me normalizing chaos.
I meant to say that was the chaos being normalized. It was not my fault.
One week, Homelander would be around and would be saying things like,
the reason I work 2 jobs is so I could provide for you, and so I could spoil you, and I could give you everything that you want. So when you ask me for this, I'm gonna give it to you. When you ask me for that, it's not a problem.
And it was time to drop the kitties back off. Homelander would go back to his life, and it was like Homelander didn't have no motherfucking kids. So when I recognized that pattern of inconsistency with Bird, and those feelings started to come up, like, is it something that, like, I'm doing? No, bitch, it's not you. Those feelings and those thoughts coming up, even though it's a completely different person, completely different situation, my brain is subconsciously reliving that pattern. That's when I start thinking, like, maybe I should reach out more, maybe I should start putting in some more effort. That's my brain trying to prove that I'm worthy of staying with, I'm worthy of being around, because Homelander constantly made me feel like I had to be the one putting in the effort for the relationship in order to receive what I needed from him, which was validation and just everything that you're supposed to receive from a father. That's what I felt like it was my duty to, like, I need to do things, I need to call more, I need to be more attentive to this relationship in order to receive what I need. Maybe that's not normal. So from now on, consistency is our new normal. Set your boundaries. So when Bird said, come smoke with me, I said, why didn't you ask me to do that when I was in the area earlier? No, I drove to your house. I was at your house for like a good 5 minutes. We went about our way. If you wanted to chill, you should have said something when I was there. Maybe I would have stayed in the area. You snooze, you fucking lose, bitch. The way people treat you has nothing to do with it at all. People just be doing what they do, and they know what they're doing, but they do what they do, and they project whatever they got going on onto you or onto the relationship. And it's not fair to blame yourself for how others are treating you. No, baby, how you treat me is a reflection of how you treat yourself. I can say that confidently because the way I treat people is the way that I treat myself. I treat myself with grace. I treat myself with kindness. I treat myself with love. because I love myself. And so when I see a stranger, if I see someone I know, I'm going to treat them the way I treat myself because I respect myself, I love myself, and I'm going to get the best treatment. And that's just how I operate. That's just how most people operate. Whether they know it or not, they're treating you how they treat themselves. People are always going to show you better than they can tell you. So if someone's being inconsistent, don't do more, baby. Do less. Healing starts with acknowledging the root of the behavior or the trauma response and recognizing the pattern of the inconsistency, and also recognize the pattern of how you tend to respond to that and how that correlates to things in your childhood. If it's a father wound like me, ooh, baby, grab that journal. I've written multiple letters to Homelander, a lot of which that I never sent, because the first time I wrote a letter to Homelander about how I felt and about how I wanted our relationship to be and how I felt as if our relationship wasn't going to improve unless he healed and worked on these specific behaviors and how he treated me specifically, because everybody doesn't experience a person the same way. So even though me and my brother share the same Homelander, the abuse was different, but the abuse was there for both of us. But either way, I wrote specifically about how he treated me, how I felt about how he treated me, and how I wanted us to move forward from that. And the response I got was,
I am who I am, and I'm not changing for nobody.
He said more things. Like I said, I wrote a letter. He wrote a letter back, basically telling me to shut my ass the fuck up.
I am who I am. Fuck you.
And I said, you got it. You got it. You are who you are. Then you can be who you are where you at. And I left him where he was at. Yeah, that was the first letter. And then all the other letters I've written over the years, I've been like me processing situations I never had the space to process before. You can allow yourself the closure that you need from a situation without that person needing to be involved. So burn that shit. Release it from your spirit. Get it out, purge it out, whatever. That's when you can begin to move on. And when you notice like those patterns in other people early on, you know, I've experienced this and this is important. And move accordingly. Healing is a journey. I've been healing from my father world ever since I was 16 years old, and I'm turning 26 in a month and a half, okay? 10 years, Bookie. I had 16 years of torment from Homelander. So, healing is a journey. Some days look better than other days. As long as you can acknowledge certain behaviors and certain patterns in other people and know that you've been through this before and you can allow yourself to not go through it again and leave that person alone. Leave that thing alone. Ooh, now you're on your way to a better life. Bitch, that's all I have. This lady doing laps. And she looking at my laptop. She looking at my phone set up on this tripod. She looking at me. And then she going about her business. Period, queen. Go about your business, girl.